I am starting a new project, and it's starting off with this here Takom. And I've not built this before, though I have done the male version, so, and I loved it. So this should be lots of fun. Let's get in here and see what we've got here firstest. There's some PE in here, so I just want to get this. And I love, you know, Takom has such nice instructions, you know. I really like their stuff. And then their painting, you know, for the different paint you can put on them. They do a real nice job there and give you all the colors. So, yeah, Takom's awesome. So, this is going to be my new project. I'm going to put this stuff back, though, because I just want to keep it nice until I need it. This is nice because it kind of gives me the basic size I'm going to be dealing with, you know. So that, I mean, it's going to be bigger, obviously, because of the tracks and stuff, but that is going to be a lot of fun. So let's see where we start. It's just packaged so nicely. You know, I like that because they really, you know, it shows that they care about delivery and making sure everything's good by, you know, how careful they are about this. So I'm pretty happy with it. In my last one, I think there was a lot of extra parts. I don't know if this one will have extra parts or not, but that's how it were with my last one. So I finished building, and you know, one of the things that I like to do once I'm done building is I'll get some primer on it. It's got some Tamiya primer on it, and I use that to determine how big the diorama is going to be that I'm going to build. So I place it on the foam that I'm going to use, and then I can position it and things like that. This is what I call an anchor piece. The anchor piece is going to be the most prominent detail on the diorama. And when I've got that on there, it just helps me figure out where else things are going to go and what size diorama I want to depict the scene that I'm going to be creating. So I've got that, and now it's time to cut some foam. Time to use my trusty old Proxxon table cutter. And I've got the wire, if you notice, it's at an angle. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's 45, but I'm not really following the line. That's just a general reference. But if you'll notice, that gives me this really nice slope. Then I cut it to length, and then we're going to glue it to the main base so I have a little hill. For joining the pink foam, I like to use foam tack glue, and works pretty darn good, and for a couple of reasons. First thing, you put it on there, you spread it all over the area, and it goes on white, just like a PVA glue. But then as it dries, it'll turn to a clear. So I'm not going to stick it on here. What I'm doing is I'm trying to get the pattern of where I want the glue to be on the other piece. So I just kind of press it together, and then when I pull it apart, I can see exactly where I'm going to be putting more glue on the base, because you want to coat both sides. That gives you the best adherence. So once I've done that, I spread it out. If there's enough, that's fine. If not, I'll put some more glue on here. And again, once these both kind of dry a little bit, it gets a little bit clear, you know, in the curing process. And you don't want to wait till it's completely clear, because sometimes it can be too dry to be tacky and stick together. So when most of it is clear and there's still a little bit of white, that's when I'll press them together. And when you press these guys together, it works great. I do want to weight it. I do want to go ahead and press it into position. But the great thing is it will not shift when you put them together, because it's tacky. And that's a really good thing. So here it is, it's dried. You see, it's not completely dry, it's not completely clear, but when I put these two together, I'll index the one side so everything lines up really well. And then when you press it together, they're not going to slip and slide like other glues can do if you put it on wet. Now I'm just going to cut from a little bit of that scrap a parapet that's going to go in front of what will be the trench. This is the German side, and so this is going to be stuck down just like I did the back part of the trench, which is going to be a hillside. Now we're going to take the whole thing and put it on top of this 1/4" MDF. And this is important to add a substrate or a stiffening element underneath your pink foam. The board underneath the foam keeps it from warping once you add the surface, because that can make it shrink a little bit on top and then warp your diorama. You know, what I'm thinking is kind of, you know, the Sergeant York. If you've ever seen that movie, amazing movie, and of course, a real life event. And so I'm kind of basing on that. So this is going to be an improved position, sandbags, you know, it's going to have, you know, cover over it and all that kind of stuff. These guys up there, I'm thinking of a switchback here, you know, with the trail coming up, and then this trench will be dug out. And then this is going to be no man's land. You know, I haven't done a heck of a lot of that. And I've just had, like, you know, kind of slivers of no man's land, but I really want to do a large area of no man's land where, you know, there's all kinds of stuff here. And so that's what's going to happen for the main part of the diorama. Now for figures, I've got these British guys, this British kit, ICM, and it is British infantry with gas masks. And then over here, I've got German infantry with gas masks. They're going to be more in the trench. This is the machine gun crew. I don't think I'm going to need this other British kit that I have. Plus, they're not in gas masks, and I don't think that, you know, having them on here is going to work very well. These are the only guys that I have set up for it, but I wanted some spares, so that's what that is. These guys are going to be taking cover behind the Mark 1, trying to, you know, make an assault here. And I'm not sure if the Mark 1's going to be disabled, if it's moving. It's awfully close. It is certainly going to be getting peppered by this MG, but we're going to see how that develops out. So yeah, I've got, and this is also just kind of a spare kit. I don't know if I'll have that. They don't have gas masks, so they may be like up here in the higher ground where, you know, the gas settles on the lower grounds. It's going to be a good sized diorama. You know, I always do underground elements. I don't know if I'm going to do an underground element on this because there's just not a lot of room. I mean, sure, I could finagle something in, but we'll see how it goes. But right now, the main thing that I really want to accomplish is the no man's land and the German trench, because I haven't done a German trench. For shaping, I like to use a rotary tool and cut into my foam. I've seen a lot of other people get to this point, you know, and maybe they've got a different terrain started, and then they'll add things to it, you know, by adding plaster or you know, all kinds of things to build up what they're trying to do, and then do the shaping in that way. For me, it just works out really nice to use, like you can see in my hand there, I've got a vacuum, so I'm picking up all the dust and all the stuff coming off of the foam. But it is really a carving and a shaping action here. And for me, it works out great. If you're interested, this kind of a rotary tool, it's a larger one. It's not like a Dremel. I think a Dremel could work, and I've done it for smaller stuff, but this is a Fordham. And the Fordham is a larger format rotary tool. It's got this really nice burr on it and just does a fantastic job of shaping a larger area of foam. Now I'm moving to like just a general slope. If I've got a hill on one side, I want to have the rest of the area to kind of slope down and away from the German line. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm also adding splash marks for artillery, and once this is done, I'll go back to the trench and kind of define it a little bit more with a different bit. So now I've got the diorama turned on its side, and you can see that slope that I did with the last bit to try and get that to look like it's, you know, the whole terrain is sloping away from that little hill that we created on one end. I'm also using a straight bit. It's still a burr style bit. It's just not teardropped like the last one. This one's just straight up and down, so I can get some real nice cuts in that German trench line. Once this is done, I'm going to use my heat gun, and I like to use that over the entire surface. It gets rid of any of the fuzzies that you know you get from carving it with these burrs, and that'll prepare it to put on the dirt, which is going to be Mod Podge and sanded grout. To get dirt or ground on here, what I use is Mod Podge. And this is unthinned, it's just straight out of the container here, and I use Mod Podge matte. Once that's all over the surface, then I'm going to come back with the sanded grout. Now you can certainly buy lots of ground mediums or dirt or whatever you want to call it, but for me, using the Mod Podge and the sanded grout combination just does wonders. And I'm going to show you the entire process because it's not just sprinkling it on there. After I've got the dirt on there, or the sanded grout, then I use a combination of water and alcohol to spray into it so it soaks in real nicely. The next thing is I let it dry completely, and then I do use some thinned Mod Podge to pour over it. I work it in, and when it's done, I've got an absolutely solid surface that's going to stand up to a lot of work while I'm adding a lot of the details that are coming next. So here is the basic surface. It's done, it's dried overnight, so everything is cured nicely. And now I can go in and start adding details. Now that's going to be next week. So next week I'm going to show you how I put in these wood abutments, the shoring that I'm using, as well as I'm going to be using milliput to build some sandbags that are going to start to build up these German defenses. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, in the members area of my YouTube channel, there's a whole bunch of other videos and a whole bunch of archives of older material that I've got saved up just for the members. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.